time for our second game of the day as North America's Vulcun take on Korea's Samsung Galaxy Ozone. Now, the winner of this match will move into a tie for second place with just one game left. Can't stress that one enough. And coming into this game, it's Ozone that are looking to make it 2 in a row against ManCloud and Vulcun.
Yeah, so Vulcun got out to an early lead the first time these two teams met, but squandered it in the mid-game, letting Ozone take control. All week long, Monty and Doublelift have been going back and forth on Dandy versus Xmithy. Round one of this matchup easily went to Dandy, though. He was involved in 20 of Ozone's 22 kills, yet he only died once.
Well, even though ManCloud and Vulcun fell to Samsung Galaxy Ozone the first time around, they're pretty confident that they can win the rematch with a focused plan of attack.
Most important thing I learned from SSO is that their mid laner has a kind of limited champion pool. When he's playing champions he's really good at, he does extremely well.
저희가 일단 벌컨하고 첫 경기에서 초반에 많이 약한 모습을 보여줬기 때문에 그 부분을 보완하고 절대 방심하지 않고 남은 경기 잘 마무리하도록 열심히 하겠습니다.
I think we're going to focus more of our picks and bans towards their mid laner Dade, who I think he's only played Gragas, Ryze, and Ezreal. I think our plan is just to force him onto Ryze by like either picking or banning his other two champions.
Against Ozone last time we were doing really well before I got caught in mid and they snowballed completely off of that advantage. We're pretty confident going to the next match though that we're not going to do anything silly.
We just need to practice harder and try to think better and not make risky plays early game.
Banning out Dade, a plan laid out for everyone to see and hear there, but was it a bait?
Pretty much everybody's been targeting Dade after this. We'll have to see if it is a bait.
Well, we'll find that out in just a little while, but first of all, we've got to check out the two lineups. Starting off in the blue corner with Vulcun. There, of course, Psycho Sid in the top lane, Xmithy in the jungle, ManCloud, the mid laner, Zuna, the AD carry, and Bloodwater, the support.
And in the red corner, it's Samsung Galaxy Ozone. Up top is Looper, in the jungle is Dandy, Dade's mid, Imp is the AD carry, and Mata is supporting.
So, we're about to get into Champion Select here, but let's talk about that before we get there, because it's a little bit up in the air, and I want to focus a little bit more on Dade here, because he's the obvious choice to really look at. He's played a lot, but not really found his comfort zone yet, I'd say.
I'd say Vulcan's definitely not going to give them Zed. So that's number one, because that's a champion that everybody's afraid of Dade on. They'll be happy giving him, you know, Ryze or Gragas or something like that, though.
Well, we'll have to see. And we heard that plan going out there, they're going to try and focus on Dade and make him play that Ryze. We're going to find that out right now, though, as we get into Champion Select. Vulcun having the first picks and the first bans, and their first ban coming out here will be a Caitlyn.
I think Samsung Galaxy Ozone as well, they talked about focusing more on their early game mistakes. They might focus on the junglers a bit more too, take something away from Smithy.
Well, right now, Vulcun clearly lied to us somewhat in that video.
Clearly.
They've banned out Caitlyn, Lee Sin, and Thresh, focusing completely on everyone, again, other than Dade in this one. So, other side, Ari, Corki, and that Zed banned out by Ozone.
Yeah, because Vulcan our first pick, and they're aware that Mandatory Cloud has a huge champion pool. Mandatory Cloud can play Zed. They don't want to give that one away, so Samsung Galaxy forced to sort of ban away Dade's best champion here because their second pick.
Another thing that's left open here is Shen. Now, both top laners here, both Looper, who we also have to add in, coming into this tournament without any experience whatsoever on the well so far, has played Shen, has played Singed. Same goes for Psycho Sid, locked in.
He'll probably be doing Singed. Every time that they've gone up against Shen, they've locked in the Singed. They can actually save that one for a much later pick, so they can take two higher priority ones here. They talked about early pressure. Elise in the jungle, amazing at getting that off. A much better early game for Samsung Galaxy. And taking away Bloodwater Sona is always a good idea.
Well, that Elise pickup there is funny. If you look at Dandy's stats, he's only actually played 2 junglers so far. The Jarvan and the Elise. Obviously, a lot of Lee Sin bans coming his way as well. And therefore, he's going to be settling in with the Spider Queen once again. On the other side here then for Vulcun, what are they going to lock up this time? Support already gone, so they can save that for whenever they need to get around there and go for those more hotly contested choices.
With Thresh being banned and Sona being taken already, the support they'll probably go with is that Zyra, but you're right, they can save this one. So Samsung, they can save their Singed pick much later, and then Vulcun can actually save their Zyra pick for much later. They don't want to show the mid lanes very early, though. So those ones probably are going to be relegated to the next round of picks.
Well, we see that Zyra will be picked up here along with Karma, Jarvan, Karma, nah, Jarvan is the one that they go for there in the end. Again, a new pick here from it. Smithy's played 4 games of Vi, 2 games of Elise so far. First time we're seeing Jarvan here in the World Championships for him.
Yeah, Jarvan definitely very strong early game jungler. With Lee Sin being banned out, Elise being taken, they are trying to have Smithy, answer whatever Dandy's going to go with here. So far, we talked about, Dandy having the slight upper hand against Smithy, but Jarvan can make those moves very early as well.
So Ozone here picking up that Singe. We thought that might come in against the Shen pick, and also a Vayne for Imp.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here is that they save Dade for counter picking. They don't want to show that early. Vulcun talked about how much they were focusing on it. They didn't use any bans on him yet, but Mandatory Cloud, with such a large champion pool, can easily use the pick advantage to counter Dade if they actually lock that mid lane in early, so they save it to last.
So it looks like it will be that Zyra-Ashe combo, which they went with against Mineski actually in their last game. Ended with some pretty impressive scores for both Bloodwater and Zuna that time around. It will be a Twisted Fate pickup here for ManCloud.
Now going Twisted Fate against Dade is pretty interesting because Dade mainly plays a
plan going out there. They're going to try and focus on Dade and make him play that Rise. We're going to find that out right now, though, as we get into Champion Select. Vulcun having the first picks and the first bans, and their first ban coming out here will be a Caitlyn.
I think Samsung Galaxy, Ozone as well, they talked about focusing more on their early game mistakes. They might focus on the junglers a bit more, too. Take something away from Smithy.
Well, right now, Vulcun clearly lied to us somewhat in that video.
Clearly.
They've banned out Caitlyn, Lee Sin, and Thresh, focusing completely on everyone, again, other than Dade in this one. So, other side, Ari, Corki, and that Zed banned out by Ozone.
Yeah, because Vulcun are first pick, and they're aware that Mandatory Cloud has a huge champion pool. Mandatory Cloud can play Zed. They don't want to give that one away, so Samsung Galaxy forced to sort of ban away Dade's best champion here because they're second pick.
Another thing that's left open here is Shen. Now, both top laners here, both Looper, who we also have to add in, coming into this tournament without any experience whatsoever on the pro scene, done really well so far. Has played Shen, has played Singed. Same goes for Psycho. Sid, locked in.
He'll probably be doing Singed. Every time that they've gone up against Shen, they've locked in the Singed. They can actually save that one for a much later pick, so they can take 2 higher priority ones here. They talked about early pressure. Elise in the jungle, amazing at getting that off. A much better early game for Samsung Galaxy. And taking away Bloodwater Sona is always a good idea.
Well, that Elise pickup there is funny. If you look at Dandy's stats, he's only actually played 2 junglers so far. The Jarvan and the Elise. Obviously, a lot of Lee Sin bans coming his way as well. And therefore, he's going to be settling in with the Spider Queen once again. On the other side here then for Vulcun, what are they going to lock up this time? Support already gone, so they can save that for whenever they need to get around there and go for those more hotly contested choices.
With Thresh being banned and Sona being taken already, the support they'll probably go with is that Zyra, but you're right, they can save this one. So Samsung, they can save their Singe pick much later, and then Vulcun can actually save their Zyra pick for much later. They don't want to show the mid lanes very early, though. So those ones probably are going to be relegated to the next round of picks.
Well, we see that Zyra will be picked up here along with Karma, Jarvan, Karma, nah, Jarvan is the one that they go for there in the end. Again, a new pick here from it. Smithy's played 4 games of Vi, 2 games of Elise so far. First time we're seeing Jarvan here in the World Championships for him.
Yeah, Jarvan definitely very strong early game jungler. With Lee Sin being banned out, Elise being taken, they are trying to have Smithy, answer whatever Dandy's going to go with here. So far, we talked about, Dandy having the slight upper hand against Smithy, but Jarvan can make those moves very early as well.
So Ozone here picking up that Singe. We thought that might come in against the Shen pick, and also a Vayne for Imp.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here is that they save Dade for counter picking. They don't want to show that early. Vulcun talked about how much they were focusing on it. They didn't use any bans on him yet, but Mandatory Cloud, with such a large champion pool, can easily use the pick advantage to counter Dade if they actually lock that mid lane in early, so they save it to last.
So it looks like it will be that Zyra-Ashe combo, which they went with against Mineski actually in their last game. Ended with some pretty impressive scores for both Bloodwater and Zuna that time around. It will be a Twisted Fate pickup here for ManCloud.
Now going Twisted Fate against Dade is pretty interesting because Dade mainly plays attack damage champions. He does not play a lot of AP champions. Even though he does main mid, it's mostly attack damage. And they go back to one of the things that was successful for them, which is the mid Ezreal. So they're going to have a double AD composition with Singed as a teleport split pusher. So Singed try and draw resources from Vulcun up top while the rest of his team takes early turrets. Makes use of this 4-man range squad that they're going to have with the CC of the Crescendo and the Cocoons to try and keep them safe. However, Vulcun, Ashe is really good against that because Crystal Arrow guaranteed engage.
So we've got two very interesting lineups. Let's see what you guys at home think about this game. According to lolesports.com, 60% of you going for Ozone this time around, and our analysts all thinking the same.
I don't know. After seeing this champ select, I'm feeling like Vulcun have a pretty good chance. Analysts went over it though. Vulcun have been making a lot of sort of careless mistakes that have just thrown whatever game plan they had out the window.
Well, that's certainly something that they need to change this time around. This is pretty much the game now. This is the make or break game in this group. Gambit losing out to Fnatic gives a very big lease of life, so to speak, to both Vulcun and Ozone in this one. But it really depends on who wins this game as to who's going to be challenging them come the end of the day.
Vulcun also, by the way, have said that any team with Shen plus Twisted Fate should never lose. They, however, did lose with that combination in the North American LCS. We'll see if they can actually execute it this time because that combo of the dual globals is one of their favorites. And since they've also added in a bottom lane with Ashe Arrow, another global, they just have so much engaged potential and the ability to turn the champion numbers in their favor.
Well, here we go then. We're going to get into game. It's Vulcun versus Samsung Galaxy Ozone for what is the most important game that these guys are going to be playing, certainly this week, for now, the first week here of group stage here in the World Championships for Season 3. We see Lupa there, got his sun cream strapped to his back, and not going to be face checking through there. Dade, he's just hanging off to the side here, and will actually throw that Mystic shot through, which will connect onto Zuna, but Vulcun playing aggressive here at level 1.
They know that they've been spotted, so they're just going to try and get some wards down on this little excursion and then exit the jungle as safely as possible. They got what they wanted. They've got complete vision of this blue side jungle of Ozone. Now they're setting up something really sneaky. This could be a late invade on the blue buff. Ozone have to be very scary because they didn't get any of their own vision down before the invade came off.
And this is the game to not risk pretty much anything going forward. And we can see that Ozone seem to want to play it very safely as well by sticking to this top side of the map where they know that Vulcun don't have that vision down right now, where they know they've got vision from the two entries on the top and that ramp side.
So if Vulcun play this right and they just take away the blue buff and exit bottom river, then Samsung Galaxy will still not have any idea that they stole away the blue. The ward here from Mata is actually going to tell them a lot, though, because they'll know that Smithy's not immediately going over to his own blue as a second buff.
Well, we do see that blue buff start. Smithy is going to be taking this one away. Why is he going to go from that? You'd imagine straight to his red, but it also allows Dandy the opportunity to get over to his red as well.
Yeah, Dandy can easily go with the counter blue steal here because of the 2v1 lane swap. He has his support up in the top lane to back him up with that jungle invade, and that will probably be just a regular old buff swap here. Both of them taking away the other's blue buffs.
So, Frank Smithy did go over to his red. That's going to be just the exchange of buffs at this point. We are going to be seeing 2v1 lanes in this one, though. We can already see Vayne up top there, so that's going to be Vayne Sona versus the Shen. Bottom side matchup will be the Singed versus Ashe Zyra.
And Singed, true to Looper's strategy before, he always takes a small camp before going into that 2 vs 1 situation, and he times his back return to lane with the minion wave, so he hasn't missed out on much. He's got a couple CS here up already on Psycho Sid because of that strategy, but there's a lot of extra damage going down on this turret.
Yeah, already putting in masses of pressure onto that one with Smithy there. I saw in the mid lane that Dade doing good amounts of damage to ManCloud earlier on, which is probably what you'd expect coming out of that Ezreal anyway. Looper right now is stuck to his turret, trying his best to just farm things up. We'll actually throw Zuna into the back there as Looper not quite getting knocked up. Dandy coming across, Zuna taking a lot of damage, but they're just outside of that turret range, so the turret really not coming into play at all, and they'll back away.
Both members of the dual lane just got the bad end of the trade right there, and now Smithy leaves the lane. So they actually have to be pretty careful right now because they're both squishy and they're dealing with an Elise here that has flash.
Oh, Danny going very low here. ManCloud going in. First blood comes down for Vulcun. We saw the tail end of that one. And, well, ManCloud, we talked about how much damage this Ezreal's able to put out. Dade dies without even using his barrier.
Dade's going to get so much flack back in Korea. He already has been having a terrible time this tournament. I kind of feel bad for him right there. But ManCloud with a very good outplay. You saw the sidestep there, juking the Mystic shot. Really, really well played there by Mandatory Cloud.
So down at bottom, Looper and Dandy here. Are they looking to get in? No, not quite. Bloodwater and Zuna able to just walk on away from that one. So another early game great start for Vulcun. The question is, can they keep it up? Because that's something that they've struggled to do after being ahead in many games so far throughout this group stage.
Very good point. But we did have the very crucial TF in mid getting that first blood. So not only did he get the gold, but he also has experience advantage. And an earlier 6 for TF means that that advantage in mid lane translates to the side lanes. So if Dade does not ward up his mid lane, now after giving up that first blood, his TF is going to roam wild here. Mandatory Cloud can go gank top or bottom and make the other lanes feel his pain.
Dandy currently doing a bit of counter jungling. I think they saw Jarvan moving into this top lane brush there, and therefore as he backs away, that's free farm for Dandy, who might try and visit this mid lane here against ManCloud Swiss's fate. We are going to see the cocoon coming in. ManCloud flashing out of that one. I actually think he might have dodged that one anyway, but nonetheless, better safe than sorry at this stage of things. Stays up, but without that flash, always a danger.
That does mean he won't have his flash for the first Destiny that he pulls. And the importance of his positioning with that first Destiny are going to be even more important now.
Well, he continues to farm very, very close with Dade, who came back into lane with a second Doran's Blade.
Repeat gank middle. He placed the pink ward, so he saw the ping come down for Mandatory Cloud. He knows that Mandatory Cloud has vision in there, but because the ward was seen being placed, that gank does fail.
One thing that they now know, though, is that Smithy once again has gone down to this bottom lane. Looper just going to back away from this one. They're going to give up this turret. This is going to be the first one of the game for Vulcun.
The duo lane for Vulcun is super scary right now because there's 2 globals to back him up. Mandatory Cloud can come from the middle, and Psycho Sid actually needs a couple more levels, but once he gets his Stand United, then they'll be able to turn everything towards that duo lane.
Speaking of Sid up in this top lane, Wave going to get pushed right underneath his turret, so he's going to have the opportunity to get back on par with Looper in terms of the minions that he's killed. Zuna and Bloodwater not wasting any time here. They're quite happy pushing up this bottom lane with Smithy roaming through the jungle. There's a taunt actually coming down. Mata takes a blast from the turret, but they are going to lose this outer turret. That will level us up on the turret kills.
Mandatory Cloud going to recall right now, so the extra pressure. Wow, he cancels the recall. They're going to go for this blue steal.
Well, they had it at level 1.
4 versus 3.
They've got the timer on it, so Why not? Why not pick that one up? There are 4 men there. Actually, ManCloud did come down here as well. We'll see if he actually goes for it. Dade gonna have a look for a cheeky steal over the top. Won't work out for him. And that blue given over to ManCloud. Great pickup.
Yeah, that's dangerous. When you're stealing away a blue buff and your jungler doesn't use smite, you're trying to give it to your mid laner. It's very dangerous because the other team can steal that away. The safer play is to have your jungler smite their blue and then just give yours over to your mid laner. But they've already got a very early blue on ManCloud, and they can actually sit on their own blue buff and basically extend the duration for ManCloud so they can have perma blue buff TF from mid who had first blood. So that mid lane really looking scary.
Dragon. Is that an option here for Samsung
No
Galaxy
6 on
Ozone?
Shen.
No 6
Ah,
on.
there we
Oh,
go.
there it is. Hits 6 just at the perfect time. Danny actually trying to distract them here in middle. There's the Jarvan flag coming over the
Dragon
top,
at half.
so they know it's there.
They should. Vulcun should definitely contest this.
They're
They
going
go
in for it. There's the Stan United coming
got
down.
it.
They managed to steal the Dragon as well. Smithy goes low, but we see the ManCloud coming in from the bottom. There is a cleanse used by him, but ManCloud is going to pay the price of his life here. Looper charging on down onto Zuna. Can't get the slow off onto him. Flung back into the rest of the team. He will fall as well. Mata picking up the kill. That will be a 2 for 0, but the Dragon taken by Vulcun.
Shen did not come into that fight, so turned out to be a 4 versus 5, and that turned it around. If Shen had been there, this would have been huge. Smithy didn't go down. There was no cancel here. Don't know what happened with that Stand United. That's very unfortunate for Vulcun.
Well, not picking up any kills from that one, but well, it would have been a lot worse if Smithy missed his smite and ended up losing out on that Dragon anyway. That's a turret down as well here for Ozone. That will put them up in the lead now in gold by around about 500. So let's see how that translates and look down some of the items. A needlessly large rod actually coming out for ManCloud. On the other side for Dade, he picked up that tier earlier on, not been back since then.
That means that Ezreal is really at a weak point right now too, because only 2 Doran's Blades as far as combat effectiveness goes, whereas Mandatory Cloud, 2 Doran's Rings, plus a whole needlessly large rod up on Dade.
That was the blue buff actually finished off. Looper just coming around the jungle there. He needs to be a little bit careful of how confident he gets with that one. Obviously, he doesn't have that ghost available to him. Does have the Insanity Potion still to run down, though. So he can speed up and get himself out of there if needs be. But with Psycho Sid not coming down from that one, something that probably going to annoy them from that. I'm not sure whether he just said, okay, if I come down, I'm going to die anyway, so I'm just going to leave you kind of hanging in that scenario and just give you that shield. He's now picked himself up the start off of that Sunfire Cape with a Giant's Belt and that Chain Vest.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not sure what happened to that Saiyan Knight. The only way to really cancel that is to like burn your flash. And I looked at the replay, he just walked out of it. Anyway, we do have Vulcun here, grouping up in the mid lane. Now that they've lost their side turrets, their extra pressure from the double globals actually falls off a bit, and they have to defend their own jungle!
Oh, Mata in trouble here, going to get knocked up. He's inside the Cataclysm. Smithy knocked up and suddenly gets a wall, but there's the arrow! ManCloud comes in as well. Turn around here from Vulcun. Destiny going to come down. Dandy stunned up, but can they finish him? Yes! Grasping Roots, the knock up as well. What a turnaround there from Vulcun. It's Smithy that picks up the kill in the end. And they should be able to take this turret as well.
Oh, Mata, it's so dangerous in there. Trying to get the very deep wards down. Great collapse from Vulcun. Also, great arrow right there. And the flash over from Mandatory Cloud. Perfect crowd control. And gap closing at the right time there from both Vulcun members.
And that is the mid turret here going down for Vulcun. They will level them up on the turret kills, put them ahead in kills. And a 2,000 gold lead now they have. Let's have a look at that one again.
Beautiful snare out of the bush right there. Mata just got way too close to an area he didn't have vision of. And the arrow making sure Imp doesn't get out. Really, really good stack there. Mandatory Cloud started it off, and Mandatory Cloud's also going to finish it off. He catches Dandy. They come in again. More stuns stacking here. Psycho Sid in the top, able to skirt around that extra little slow pool.
So well done there from Vulcun. but can they keep it up? That's the question that's been nagging them throughout this group stage so far. They've done well in the early games of pretty much every single game, but they've not been able to carry that one through, and this is a game where they need to really to avoid those mistakes. They said it themselves after pretty much every game. We made mistakes.
They definitely have a plan right now, though. They want to get all of the outer turrets. They see Vayne bottom. They send everybody up top. They do have Stand United, and they also have Crystal Arrow. Destiny is going to take a while to come back, but they have the numbers advantage up top. Imp freezing bottom. Vulcun are definitely going to take this turret.
They see that up inside of the brush. They're going to get rid of that ward thanks to the Oracle that he's currently running, and going to move in for another turret kill here. Minions not quite playing in their favor from this one, but I'll get a good few hits off. Next wave, that turret will be going down, and we can see that Ozone actually trying to make a play of their own here, possibly. True Shot Barrage going to come across, only hitting the back end of those minions. The turret does go down. That will put Vulcun ahead on that front, but will they be able to save their mid turret now? Oh, they're going to go for the inner.
All right, this is going to be a race, but Vulcun are one tower deeper than Ozone are right now. So if they continue with this race, Vulcun are just going to go straight to the inhibitor.
Wow, they are going to keep going from this one. We can see the recall coming in there from Samsung Galaxy Ozone. They've lost their inner turret in that top lane.
Vulcun trying to pick them off here. Like we said, Crystal Arrow is up. Destiny, a couple more seconds.
Oh, been showing himself there from that one. Are they going to commit to this? To be honest, if those minions can come up, they've got a positional advantage to go at that mid lane. Dragon's coming up here in 20 seconds as well, we shouldn't forget.
So all that Vulcun have to do right now is get in position to contest this dragon. Because they have vision control with Hawkshot, because they also have an Oracle's backing this up, they just want to buy time for Shen in the top lane, and as soon as someone from Ozone has to go up and deal with that, they're choosing Imp right now, they can make the move, force this dragon.
Well, Imp is going in there, both Twisted Fate and Zyra went back for Vulcun. They're going to come back into it. Actually, the Zhonya's is now done there for ManCloud. See for Zyra picking up that Sightstone. Got a GP10 wearing boots in there, as well as a couple of loose wards as well. Currently no vision on Dragon whatsoever, which kind of surprises me, considering that they were so heavily around that area early on. But Imp did clear out that top, did stop Psycho Sid pushing it down.
Bloodwater had recalled with Mandatory Cloud to go get more wards to set up this dragon fight, and so they've missed their opportunity where Imp was top, because now Looper's up there. He can both interrupt Psycho Sid and teleport himself. So the top lane right now, this duel, just as important as the 4 vs 4 around Dragon, because if these top laners can keep vision of each other, then they can both interrupt.
Crazy, crazy tense game at this point. You can see that they're both backing away from that Dragon area right now. Dandy is going to rappel forward onto the minions. Cocoon sidestep there by ManCloud.
What?
Well, he almost went in for that one. He threw the stun down onto the minion, but they managed to catch out Matter. Are they going to be able to lock him up? Oh, Cataclysm was down. Looper teleported right inside of it. They're going to be able to pick off Dandy here. Actually, he's managed to get himself back there somehow to stay alive. Looper taking lots of damage. Bloodwater will fall down. Zuna now going to be the focus as he gets exhaust. ManCloud and Smithy are both low at the back. Zuna flashes to the backside as well. So very low on both sides of the table. Are they going to be able to chase through? Here come Ozone. There's a stun on towards him. Daddy follows around. Sid will walk away from this one, but Ozone not done just yet. They may be able to get the tower after.
And there's the mistakes that you're waiting for from Vulcun. Little bit sloppy right there. They do stand united extremely early. The gold card had already just come out to finish off a creep. Definitely miscommunication right there. Very chaotic fight, and Vulcun lost their game plan. No clear calls right there. They all split up, and Zuna was very deep in the Samsung team, not able to put out the consistent damage. They didn't set up their battle lines for that fight, and they weren't able to freely attack.
5-4 behind now in kills. You see that the worrying thing, Imp, a sensational AD carry, is 3-1-2 on Vayne right now. Has what is a massive CS lead over Zuna as well. Something that kind of crept up on me. I didn't see that one building, but he's had that time both in the bottom lane and then in the top lane, and Psycho Sid pushed that one in, and that's really gained him a nice advantage. You can see that he's approaching 2,000 gold extra over Zuna at this stage.
Yeah, they had him down bottom while they just gave up on that top lane turret. So that free farm did come at a cost. So not necessarily free farm then.
Imp and Mata just headed up towards that top lane. See if they could catch out Psycho Sid, but not going to be falling for that one. Zuna, he's got a mixed bag right now. Not finishing off a major item. Got a BF sword. Got the pickaxe in there. Is the arrow going to go through? Repelled away from though by Dandy. Great reactions.
Yep, good reflexes, but also firing off that crystal arrow on someone with a repel. A repel.
Not ideal.
Yeah, it's chancy.
Very chancy. And sometimes it'll work out for you, but I don't know. Dandy definitely ready for that one to come his way. Able to get completely away from it. ManCloud here. He's going to play that second split pusher in the team with Psycho Sid pushing top. He will start to move that bottom wave further up the map. He's currently behind in CS as well. As I said earlier on, got that Zhonya's Hourglass finish. Trinity Force on the other side is done for Dade.
It'll be interesting again who Psycho Sid chooses to stand united, because if Mandatory Cloud goes in for the classic Messiah TF initiates and uses the Zhonyas, then he'll have to have a delayed stand united come in and actually try and make use of the shield. Meanwhile, Zuna has had problems with his positioning, so Psycho Sid might want to save the shield for Zuna.
Well, they need to coordinate it better, whoever that shield ends up going down onto. So in that last fight, that just all a little bit disjointed from Vulcun overall. But now they're pushing up. Good catch from Bloodwater. Saw that one coming a mile away, but didn't quite have the speed to dodge it. And now, Ozone, what is their next play? Pink wards down, have spotted Smith his position, and he's going pretty deep into the jungle at this stage. Bloodwater and Zuna stood on top of that one as well, so Ozone having complete vision there of Vulcun as they move into the jungle.
Vulcun really need to make use of these dual globals that they have. Try and get advantage in 2 lanes at once. It looks like they're going to try and use the Baron Pit as their point of operations here. They're going to clear out as much vision as they can around it. Bloodwater's going to have to recall if he wants to do that, because he's out of pink wards.
He's going to be going home there, picking himself up that Oracle and a pink ward. Meanwhile, Looper actually pushed this bottom wave all the way onto the inner turret. Meanwhile, Sid not really going past that inner turret point either. They've not had the vision control that top side for him to really feel comfortable about keeping going on that front. And it leaves Ozone now able to push out towards this midway point on that mid lane. And then we see Looper just head straight up towards top. He's just going to do exactly the same as he just did at bottom.
We're definitely going to need to see a higher level of coordination from Vulcun in their next team fight if they want to come out on top. Because the 2 AD carries that Ozone have chosen for this dual AD composition are both extremely mobile AD carries. So it means the crowd control is crucial coming from Vulcun. They have to land those abilities to lock down the AD carries, or else they're going to consistently out-damage the team just like they did last time.
So, Shen and Cinch swapping up lanes there. Sid headed down now towards the bottom. Looper is pushing that top already at the outer turret area. Bit standoffish at this point. We'll just see farm being given over to those AD carries in the mid lane. The top laners pushing the side lanes out there as well. And once they get to a certain level, just recalling back. You can see it there right now, almost mirrored on both sides of the map.
Yeah, Zuna has really, had a tough time this game. He needs to get at least the Infinity Edge for the next fight, because he's way far behind Imp right now. Imp is doing so much more in any team fight that they pull out. Meanwhile, top laner is just pretty much trading side lane farm here. Oh, Madakut's caught again!
Oh wow, that was so quick. We didn't quite catch it there. And you just can't afford to let that happen. That's something that they can't afford to let Vulcun do. These picks will bring them back into the game. Going to make them strong. We see that Smithy actually up inside by that blue buff right now. As Dandy thinking about checking it. He just cleared a ward out there with that pink, but in the end, Vulcun decide to back away. Probably wisely so. They can't afford a repeat of what just happened to Mata there.
Mata is doing his best to try and get vision to avoid these very, very dangerous ganks from Vulcun, but every time he goes a little bit too deep toward a new place, he gets caught out. Zuna smacking him in the head with a crystal arrow right there. They also have the ability for Mandatory Cloud to pop off Destiny, so if Vulcun catch somebody, they can get vision of the entire Ozone team and chase that person down because they'll have confidence guaranteeing vision of the entire Ozone team. Any pick that Vulcun get, they can check to make sure it's a safe one and go for all in on it.
So next big objective is the Dragon, now up and available for the taking as a Cocoon actually landing on towards Smithy there. Dade just off to the side, he's going to throw that true shot. Barrage through again, Bloodwater cashes it again. So Dragon started off for the Koreans. Will Vulcun be able to get their way around and stop this one from being taken? Smithy going to slide through, but the Dragon already taken. There is a Cataclysm going to lock Looper up, but he's not the real target they want. Cloud coming into the back, using his Zonyas, but he's going to die before the rest of the team can do anything. Now Sid being focused down here. Imp taking chunks out of him will pick up the double kill. Looper will finally fall, but what have they killed? They've killed a Singe. That's not going to matter to Ozone right now as they chase down for even more kills. Smithy, will he fall? Yes, he will. It's Imp that picks up another one. Not quite done just yet. I think he fancied Bloodwater. Couldn't quite get in there. It's a 4-for-1. They lost the Singed, but it was just a Singed.
Vulcun are having such a hard time dealing with Looper here. They completely fall apart, and that opens it up for the perfect situation for these AD carries. Mandatory Cloud also engaging from the back right there while the rest of his team trying to deal with the Singe running around. They completely, again, uncoordinated team fight right there. They fall apart and they lose another one. They're slowly letting Samsung get back into this, and now Samsung with a pretty substantial lead.
That was Mindcloud using Destiny to get up towards his blue buff. Also, the fact that he can see that Ozone have all backed away from where they were. And now, in theory, a good idea. We see that, you know, the Messiah Twisted Fate Destiny, so to speak, where he gets in there and Zonies, but it requires your teammates to actually be right there on top of you as well to start the fight from the front side. And the fact was, Looper caught up inside of that Cataclysm, ran around in circles for a while and made a beeline to them. They all just ran away, and Mindcloud easy fodder.
Very, very poor there. But they still have Oracles, so they're trying to get the vision back. Now the gold lead being in Samsung's favor makes it much more difficult for Vulcun, though. They're actually going to rely on picking someone off right now. They're going to have a hard time in those team fights once again.
Well, the only one they've really been able to pick out so far is Mata. He died a little earlier on in that mid lane. Right now, Ozone pushing the waves back, and we get to that standoffish kind of tempo here once again. Dade just clearing outwards over by Dragon. Take that little bit of gold. Actually has his Mirror Mana now finished alongside that Trinity Force. If you look down the AD carry, Zuna finally got that Infinity Edge in there. But look at Vayne. Phantom Dancer, Blade of the Ruin King from earlier, plus that QSS now.
That's a very, very scary Vayne. He's also, the cleanse plus the QSS means that even if Vulcun are able to land their CC that they're looking for on the right target, then he's going to be able to take that right off. Meanwhile, since Zuna was so far behind this whole game, Looper hasn't really had to worry about attack damage very much, and he's built mostly magic resistance. That's why he's having such an easy time getting through this Vulcun squad. The teleport comes in. They're cutting him off.
This could be very, very bad news. Vulcun completely out of position. There's the arrow going back. They try and focus down Dade. Strangle Thorns won't knock anyone up from that one. A good crescendo coming in there from the backside. Mata falling to low HP, but Zuna focused down. Here comes Imp. Sid's going to fall from this one. Smithy, easy target for the two AD carries now. Actually, good damage coming out there, but again, he cleanses it off. And there is Mindcloud. Going to use that Zonia's, but will he be able to lock them up? The card, not the right one you're looking for. Double kill for Dandy. It's an ace, and they only lost the support here.
This Samsung team's gonna have the advantage in these spread out chaotic fights every time, because that's where Sin thrives, that's where Ezreal and Vayne can make use of their mobility. Really big win for them, and they're gonna be rewarded with the inhibitor turret.
Inhib taken down by Samsung Galaxy Ozone, making one step closer here to Gambit. They know that if they win this one, it's pretty much all in their hands going forward. Let's have a look at that fight again.
Teleport there from Looper to cut off Vulcun from the rest of their team. And even though Psycho Sid comes in with the Stand United on top of Zuna, Ash has nothing to reposition. So she gets flipped in, nowhere for her to go. ManCloud's doing his best to lock down Imp here while still trying to avoid damage from Dandy. But blowing off that Zanya's and pulling the red card here, he never actually even gets in range to throw the card, so it doesn't matter what color it is, he goes down.
Could have been the rainbow-colored destroyer of all cards, and it still wouldn't have made a difference. Ozone here, turning off towards Baron. Red buff going to go off towards Imp. More wards put down from Vulcan's side again. And we have to point it out because it's been a recurring theme for Vulcan. A strong start. But where the decisions have really counted coming into this mid-game with the team fights, it's gone horribly wrong for them.
And again, I kind of talked about setting up the battlefield lines there for Vulcan earlier, and they still haven't really been able to do it. Their team is a much more traditional team that relies on Shen and Jarvan in the front, TF Ashe in the back, and Zyra controlling the middle with her Stranglethorns. In the last fight, we saw the team all grouping up, Vulcan sitting on side of Stranglethorns to try and stay safe, but all Ozone had to do was spread out. Nobody got knocked up from that. There was no control being supported right there, and they just burned down Vulcan. Another turret taken. So,
as the average game time for these teams, 30 minutes 29. Actually not an unrealistic target here for Ozone, the way that things are going. Already longer than the average Vulcan game, as we get a short pause in here from that one. That'll be rectified here shortly. And
Vulcan and Ozone.
Thanks a lot, guys. So we're going to get back in and see if Ozone can finish off the game or whether Vulcan can make a bit of a turnaround from this one and buck the trend that's been happening to them so far. But once we get back into it, I mean, we just heard the analysis, guys, and what they had to say about the whole composition, the whole execution nature of this one, and how kind of fine line it is that you've got to ride to win this one. How do they come back from the scenario like this?
well, as Crepo said, you know, most compositions are execution based. It's much harder to execute no matter what composition you have when you're down 6,000 gold. So the options are limited here for Vulcan. Really, they're going to be looking for picks on isolated targets because of their low damage. You know, at least Zuna now does have the Infinity Edge, so his crit will pack a little bit punch, but even with that, they don't have very much sustained damage, and they're going to have to just hope to get small wins and delay the game much further until they can get back to sort of even footing on items.
Well, for now, Vulcan have stopped them going towards Baron. We saw a lot of pings going down there. Pink ward actually put down by Bloodwater on the ramp down towards Baron from their side. You can see there, Psycho Sid pushing out. This is the Shen that should be feeling most home when it comes to that split pushing roll, and didn't even go even to the halfway point of that bottom lane.
Yeah, Singed and even Vayne here. Like, Vayne could now take Psycho Sid. Vayne is a very strong duelist. She has the Blade of the Ruined King, and she also has the Quicksilver Sash on top of her cleanse, so even if, you know, Psycho Sid does get a taunt to try and set him up for something dangerous, Vayne, very slippery, could get away here.
There is Looper farming up whilst recalling.
I like that.
Classy stuff from Looper. They're going to be getting himself that blue buff as well, and Ozone here have a very firm grip on the map, or on the match, I should really say. No risks though. We know that this match means pretty much everything to both of these teams. The winner will have a chance to go through, the loser's going to have no chance to go through, and that's what really counts here. If we look down the scoreboard as well, something that we've not really touched on, Imp is 8-1-3 right now, with a good 30 CS lead over Zuna.
Yeah, we've been over how scary that Imp is right now, and he hasn't gotten any less scary. Meanwhile, we still have their tank, just full magic resistor. He's only got a Doran shield to deal with any attack damage, harass, and it's because, again, not much threat from the Zuna Ashe right now. Attacking a Singe constantly is pretty hard for any AD. Zuna's going to have to be sidestepping for his life right now to try and stay in the back. right now, I'd definitely be watching out for Flash Crescendo if I'm Vulcun, because those 3 members that were just at the turret right there, if they're all grouped up and they get all 3 Flash Crescendos, they can't get any of their CC out, and they could easily be bursted down by the amount of damage this Ozone team is packing, just because of the gold advantage they have.
See there, Ozone actually leaving that mid and bottom lane and moving up towards that top side of the Vulcan jungle, maybe to try and set things up, clear out for a possible Baron attempt. Still that pink ward remains as Looper actually going to be getting a little bit closer, put down the glue but couldn't get the fling back onto anyone. Not going to be cleared out from him here, but this is an open inhibitor that's very dangerous to channel. They're actually going to go in here, managing to fling Mancloud back, but the rest of the team not quite on the same page. Looper causing all kinds of problems. There's a Crescendo. The Stranglethorn's not doing anything in that scenario, and Looper still keeps running through the team. They force them completely back. Everyone's around about half HP. They take the inhib and run.
Great trade there for Ozone. They get the inhibitor down. That's going to afford them the extra map control. Now they can take away the red buff and then just ward up all over the Baron, all over the path to Baron. Since they also know Destiny will be down now too, after they return from base, they can either set up siege on either one of the side lanes, or they can force Vulcan over to the Baron area. Vulcan right now, they're going to be relying on that Hawk Shot because they haven't been able to get any wards into the Baron area.
No vision of it right now. And, Dandy might get caught out from this one. There's Cataclysm used. Dandy, flash available, just flashes out of it completely. And here we go. Ozone, are they going to be able to turn this one around? Imp charging forward, has cleanse. Also has that Quicksilver Sash as Looper will teleport in. Who's the target? Surely going to be Zuna. There's a flash away from Mancloud. Zuna left on his own. That's a double kill picked up by Imp. And with those 2 men down, this could possibly be the finisher for Ozone.
Vulcan trying to catch somebody out before the full Ozone team returns to the Baron area, and they have to deal with that lack of vision. But now, 2 men down, Ozone just going to run right through this Vulcan base.
Well, there's the second inhibitory of the game going down. Inhibitor will fall shortly afterwards. Are Ozone going to keep going? Nope, they're going to play this one safely, cautiously, and I think this is the right time of the tournament if you're going to be playing cautiously and safe to do it.
Now they make the retreat to Baron with 2 inhibitors down. They actually haven't warded too much up around this path, but they've definitely cleared out all Vulcan's vision. So they can see all the members of Vulcan inside their base with all the minion waves pushed up, and that's just an easy Baron.
Easy peasy there for Ozone, and all going to be returning. What extra ridiculousness are they going to be coming back in with? Another BF sword there for Vayne. Quicksilver Sash for Ezreal. We saw another giant spell added in for the team with Looper this time around. Yeah, scary.
Yeah, if you know, Monty doesn't really like these late game scaling AD duel compositions, but if you get to the late game with this composition, then it's much scarier, because Ezreal and Vayne right now are so slippery, and they put out ridiculous amounts of sustained damage. This Ozone team right now, because they've gotten this lead 35 minutes in, can really just run anywhere they want.
Well, looks like anywhere. Maybe that bottom lane. Looper's already jogging on down there. And they will be clearing out here very quickly. Zuna now adding in that static shiv to keep these waves back, I think, more than anything at this stage of things. But the fact is, Ozone with Looper up there, the big tanky beast that Singe is gonna go through. There's a true shot barrage. Mancloud losing a lot of health from that one, and Ozone just waiting for that minion wave to come in. On the top side, they've got super minions actually pushing in on towards the Nexus turrets as well. Vulcan are gonna have to deal with them at some point. Looper actually runs in there, gonna get rooted up. Only lost about a quarter of his health, and he's gonna keep going. There's a taunt. He's now down below half, but he does manage to get the flip onto Zuna. There are the Stranglethorns. Looper knocked in the air. Dandy at the back. Zuna goes down. Double kill. Here comes the cleanup crew as Imp going to take a lot of damage there onto Psycho Sid, but they turn and burn. They're going to try and finish the game.
Looper was literally taking damage from all 5 Vulcan members and still didn't go down.
Here we go then. Samsung Galaxy Ozone finish off the Nexus, finish off Vulcan, and set themselves up for a showdown with Gambit later on in the day. Close stuff here in Group B. Still not decided. We still don't know who's going to be joining Fnatic later on, but Ozone doing what they needed to do right now, and that's pick up the win against Vulcan.
Ozone, wow, they should be very happy with that win. Still have some glaring problems. They've had Dade in the mid lane. He got outplayed once again. Mandroid Cloud took him down. No summoners were burned, no flash or barrier. So they still have a lot of things to work on, but congratulations to them. Well-deserved win. Some good outplays in the mid-game team fights.
And I think for Vulcan as well, it's not all bad news. Okay, for now it's bad news, of course, but they've got a very, very solid foundation there. The fact that they're able to go up against the best teams in the world at these certain stages of the game. Okay, mistakes and misplays later on not working out for them, but they're the kind of things that you can rectify over the course of next season and the coming games that they got to become a team that might be able to challenge next time around.
They're definitely going to have to put in a lot of practice. Those kinds of mistakes that they're making are easily fixed, but they have to put in the time for it. And I think it was Double of talking about how Vulcan practice less than even a lot of the other North American teams who get criticism for not practicing that much. I think that they will buckle down, though, because getting a taste of Worlds does a lot to inspire a team.
Well, they're, of course, out for now, but we'll see how they bounce back. Ozone, different story for them. They've got a big road ahead of them still today. We're going to head over to Riv and the guys at the analysis desk for a breakdown on Ozone's clutch win.
Thank you very much, Joe. And a great game indeed. Very, as we said, roller coaster and a little bit of a mid-break there as we were fixing up Zuna's peripherals as well. Coming into the picks and bans, Imani, we talked a little bit about the fact that it was kind of the AD comp with the scaling, and they kept picking more AD. You weren't liking it.
Oh, no. It does make me tweak a little bit, because we saw what the Caitlyn Ezreal combo can do in terms of the early game and pushing down towers. And the composition in general, it really relied on Imp's ability to outplay people on Vayne, which, to Ozone's credit, is something you can bank on, right? Because Imp is an incredible Vayne player. But it's not really the best idea to create your strategy around that kind of assumption. So I really was quite shaky on their strategy here.
Just look at everything Vulcan had. They had a Shen and a TF, both with global reposition. They had Shen Shield to get anybody that gets focused down. Each and every one had crowd control. Jarvan could go in, could have a piggyback Shen on top of him. TF could join you wherever. Ashe had arrow to engage. Zyra could flash roots, or just roots and then pop her ulti to knock up. They had everything they could possibly want in a team fight and still had a hint of split push. And then compare that to what Ozone was bringing, double AD with a scaling AD, not that much siege potential. They basically relied on Looper getting so tanky that he could survive a rotation, still catch somebody, fling somebody, and get them down.
And I think you have to hand it to Looper and Imp, because they played an amazing game. Like, they really played solid. I didn't identify any real mistakes. That Looper's teleports, they were godlike. Like, he made so many plays as Singed.
All right, and there is something we have to touch on, Jat. I'll let you hit it, and then we'll get into our replay, because they completely flow right into each other.
Yeah, I mean, at the early part in the game, there was one portion of the game where Jarvan jumped the wall and stole the dragon, and then Psycho Sid Shen was trying to teleport in, but we do have to mention that the teleport failed and it did not come in. It's something that happens on Shen from time to time. After that, though, we'll get into the rest of it. Vulcan was still in the game. They lost actually a big mid-game team fight as well.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. They were able to pretty much come back off of that. They were able to get a few kills there, and then this replay that Crepo is going to show you here as we bring it up on your screen really shows that the global composition wasn't really a cohesive unit coming in on this.
You have to understand that Vulcan at this point in time is ahead.
Pretty big lead.
They have a lead.
Yeah, I just want to point out right now, though, that we're looking at a pretty massive CS deficit here between Vayne and Ashe, and to that degree, too, a big part of this fight becomes just that Zerker and the pickaxe compared to a completed Blade of the Ruined King.
Good for Ozone is that the limited gold they have is spread really nicely on their carries, but even then, Vulcan should be able to win a fight. So what's going to happen here is Mancloud, he will think he can catch somebody off guard. He has a backup of his team. He will try to gold card Danny. Danny will just be out of range. A cocoon will be thrown, nearly dodges, after which Mancloud will basically say, oh, well, we missed the window, that's fine, we can try again later. I'll just get this creep and move out. But then due to bad communication, Shen is going to try an ulti. And if we roll the clip right now, we're going to see what happens. So Mancloud gives up on the gank, gets the minion. In comes Shen. Total miscommunication. Mancloud turns it around. Smithy jumps in. Mana flashes out after the Jarvan ulti. Then Looper comes in with teleport. Again, really solid teleport. Dandy gets focused, but flashes. And this is really important. Dandy survives on really low HP. Comes in back Cocoon, which sets up for Ezreal ulti. And this is where the fight turns around. Imp just lifestealed up from half HP, and he's gonna clean house. Psycho Sid not tanky enough. Looper escaped already, which is pretty damn amazing if you ask me. Imp is just cleaning house right now. Vulcan's on the run. If they didn't kill him immediately, as we said before, one rotation not enough, then the chase composition from Ozone will actually pay off. And this is what swung the game back into Ozone's favor.
Yeah, and it's one of the huge things to mention too about Imp's Vayne is no matter what happens, he pretty much always ends fights in front of everyone else. He has this impeccable ability to just be in the front line, but generally not die.
He starts the fight, disengages, gets back health because of really good peeling. I mean, that Dandy play was so good and so detrimental for Vulcan because Dandy got out on really low HP due to a really nice flash. Normal players would disengage and no, Dandy just turns it around, throws a cocoon, which triggers the Ezreal ulti, because else the Ezreal ulti wouldn't come. Ezreal ulti then hit 2 people because that one target was in place, which is it makes it easier to aim for the second target. And then yeah, Imp is like, okay, I'll finish this.
And the most impressive thing, I think, is that he's playing against triple globals. He's playing against TF, Shen, and he's up against an Ashe Zyra, which is an incredible kill lane. And he still managed to pull ahead in lane, which is something that really shouldn't be happening. I think Imp played really well. He's almost as good as me on Vayne.
Still.
Go ahead, Grepo, but I'm gonna press you on that.
I just want to point out that what Ozone did was really well. Singed is a considered counter against Shen. But they said, well, I'll sacrifice the fact that I'm playing a counter, put Singed in a 2v1 lane just to allow Vayne to farm. And Singed is actually pretty scary against people who are not used to playing against him.
Right.
As a support, you always have that little bit of zone, because when Singed flings you into a tower in a 2v1, it gets really messy, especially when a jungler shows up.
And with Double F, with your AD carry expertise, what is it about that laning phase? You know, you said that he did good in lane against globals. Globals come at 6, so the lane should pretty much be easy. But what else do you have to do in your lane to make sure you're safe?
Well, obviously you have to keep really, because Mancloud got first blood, he should be really far ahead, not only in XP, but just in terms of like how fast he's going to get his items. TF is always a big threat, and that's why you saw Imp go cleanse this game, because there's so much CC. But even though he has cleanse, he's up against Shen, he's up against Jarvan, Ashe, Zyra. There's so much CC that he has to watch out for, so he has to know when he can play aggressive, and when TF is able to port or Jarvan's able to gank him, he needs to know when to play back. And it's really, really impressed with me that he out-CS'd Zuna by so much. Like significantly, like 30 to 40 ahead in the mid game, despite having all these disadvantages thrown at him. And Looper especially, like, it blew my mind that he was 60 CS ahead on the Shen.
The good thing about Vayne is though that all he needs is a Blade of Ruin King and a Phantom Dancer, and then he can go into a defensive item. Even though a scaling AD is horrible in the 2v1 composition, as Monte Cristo pointed out earlier, the fact that he had those 2 items allowed him to go in a QSS, which basically gives him 2 cleanses against his mass CC team, and then he just came out on top.
And we were actually hoping that he would go for Trinity Force, only because he moves so much on move speed. We'll maybe see that at some point in this tournament,
please not.
Trinity Force Vayne.
Trinity Force is so good on
We've
Vayne,
almost seen Trinity Force Varus.
I mean, after those 2 items.
It was close.
After those 2 items.
But
to
finish off with those team comps as well, I think by the end of it, you saw the inherent risk in the Vulcan composition. We mentioned it a little bit during the pause, how yes, everything's an execution-based team composition, but specifically the Vulcan one required so much precision
and communication
that if they weren't hitting the right targets, it fell apart. And at that point, by the end of the game, when Looper was farmed and pushing in the base, he was basically taking on 4 people by himself. And that really swung the game over, because once you can't take out a Sindri, the whole team, it doesn't matter.
Final thoughts, Monty?
Yeah, it just becomes even more execution-based given the fact that Ashe was down, right? Because at that point, she's mostly useful for her CC, and it comes down to really Mancloud to take out the targets. So it was really emphasized right there. And if you stack that CC incorrectly or you use it just slightly wrong, really tough to make it out.
All right.